Day.
Hey.
You almost got it right.
I forgot I hit the actual hard mute button, not the sliders, but that's okay. That's okay. What's up, everyone? RTFM showtime. We got our drinks this week. Last week we poured them all out for the boys because Nick wasn't here. So now that Nick's back from his surface of the sun wedding he attended.
It was lit though.
Is that because everyone was on fire because it was hot? Oh man.
Yes and no.
300 degrees Celsius.
So Phil and I kind of worked out the welcome back to RTFM jitters and bugs and stuff. So we're comfortable, I'm sure. Like
so I gotta get up to speed now.
Yeah, Nick's nervous. Look at him.
No.
Okay. Immediately the chat's not saying echo, 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 echo. So I think we're good.
I think we're good.
One day they're just gonna say echo just to troll us.
I know, and then we're gonna be like troubleshooting OBS for 15 minutes while the chat's just like, guys, it's fine.
We got some good topics on the list today here, and I think I'm going to be pulling an audible and changing one from a topic I just read on Twitter.
Okay.
A little bit ago. So when it comes down to my turn, we'll talk about that. But before we get into it, if you are enjoying a drink responsibly while listening to our show, hopefully you're not drinking and partaking with us. Did I say drinking? I mean driving.
Yeah.
Hopefully you're not driving and partaking with us.
Yeah. Please don't.
Be safe. So what are you guys drinking tonight or today? Whatever it is.
Now the whole chat's saying echo. I really don't know.
Liars.
Yeah.
They're liars.
Okay. Somebody said sounds good. So okay, you guys are all lying. Stop it.
Lying.
Stop it. You stop that.
I told you it's gonna happen.
Well, you gave him the idea.
Well,
Somebody said stop saying echo because that's his Alexa keyword. Oh, I guess I triggered all of them now. Whoops.
Echo, 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 echo.
Man, whenever I talk
Echo,
to
Simon says Jay is the best YouTuber ever.
Echo, say hey Siri. Just activate everything. Okay, Google, tell Echo to say hey Siri. Jeez.
Xbox, clip that.
What are you drinking, Phil?
I am drinking the official beer of golf courses.
Michelob.
Yeah, Michelob Ultra. I honestly haven't drank one.
I was like, you went soft until you took some from my bottle.
Yeah. And then I had a sniff of this, which Jay's partaking in, and I wanted some, so I stole some.
So those that are probably new to RTFM or any of my live streams, I like bourbons.
Bourbons?
Bourbons.
Bourbon?
Bourbons from Bourbon.
Bourbons.
Birmingham, Alabama. No, Birmingham.
Birmingham.
Yeah, no, I like different types of bourbons and stuff. I do like a lot of whiskeys. I don't like ryes, but I like straight bourbons and such. This is one called Old Forester. Nick got it for me for my birthday. It's 100 proof. So, yeah, this is going to get interesting probably. Thanks, Nick.
You're welcome.
The audience will thank you in an hour. What do you got over there?
I got water. I'm just being simple today.
Is it really just water?
Yeah, it's really just water.
I like how we looked for like our backup alcohol to get Nick more alcohol.
Didn't want to, huh?
No, not today.
Come on, there's
Next
Elijah
week.
Craig right there, dude.
Liar. That's tequila or vodka. We know it.
There's Corona in the beer too.
It could be vinegar.
There's Corona in the beer.
I mean,
yes. No, there is actually no beer in the Corona.
cheers.
Just like we still have a few cans / bottles of Bud Light that we had from the Post Malone era that we think by now might have actually turned into alcohol.
I'm pretty sure they threw those out though.
Okay, so Jay is right. So earlier offline, he described the
Okay, so
whiskey
I
as-
took a sip.
Yeah.
I took a sip. I smelled it. Now
Yeah.
the note smelling it was really smooth. I was like, oh, that's smooth. And everyone smelled it and was like, oh, that's really smooth. I
Yeah.
took a sip and I was like, oh, jeez.
And then yeah.
Oh,
And
okay,
then,
we're good.
yeah, it does
So my
that.
best way to describe it was if the alcohol was a punch, it went, it's okay.
No, seriously. And then the it's okay part is like it tastes
it's
like
really comforting.
caramelly and like
Yeah, there's a lot of sweet
like a
notes there.
Werther's original, but except for the fact that like we're not all like 80 years old and
I like Werther's. What are you trying to say?
I know, so do I, but it's like it's a grandpa candy for sure.
Well, I ain't a grandpa yet. I just look like one. Okay. Speaking of grandpas and dads and stuff, you can see right there on the table, we do have the new shirt design available now. A lot of you bought it last week, and I still haven't mentioned this in a video yet. I've only mentioned it to Twitter and you guys that would be in the stream. Dad bods and PC mods, obviously inspired by some of my car hobbies and stuff because I do a lot of car stuff on the side. So it's perfect. You don't have to have a dad bod to have one.
Yeah.
People were like, wait, the models on your site don't look like dad bods. I was like, shut up. But whatever. All right, Phil, take it away.
All right. So I was thinking because there is this new not new to me game that I've been I got super sucked into the lore and like the backstory called Horizon Zero Dawn. So spoilers, but it came out in 2017. So if you haven't, it's kind of like statute of limitations, I guess. Like you really shouldn't need a spoiler warning. But anyway, the backstory is that it's set in the far future, and humanity all died off because of some crazy AI that went nuts, and then basically
died off or was killed off?
Well, killed off because they were dumb enough to put the sentient AI into this line of robots that could repair themselves using biomass.
Oh yeah, and there's lots of biofuel.
And then they also didn't put an off switch, so then they had to brute force it. And then, one of the things that tripped me out about that backstory the most was the fact that they actually let the apocalypse happen, because the plan was, let's store a bunch of seeds and human genome and all that sort of stuff, and then after our AI brute forces the encryption code to turn the robots off, then it can re-terraform the Earth, repopulate the Earth with all the fauna and the humans, which I thought was dope, because most of the time the story is trying to stop the apocalypse from happening, and this time they were just like, it's gonna happen no matter what. You know what I mean? We're already screwed, but we have to try to make something for the next thing. But one thing that I thought was funny is in the older, the before times, before humanity all died off and stuff, when they were experimenting with AI tech, they already had an incident where an AI went rogue, and then they made laws about how intelligent an AI could be, and then they had this measurement unit called the Turing, which Turing test, right? I guess it makes sense. Which is basically 1.0 Turing is the equivalent intelligence of a human, so it's sentient, you know what I mean, and it can make its own decisions and that sort of stuff. And so they imposed a limit of 0.65 Turing or something was the most you're legally allowed to have an AI. And I thought that was kind of interesting, because we're starting to have that sort of same problem-ish in today's world.
But though so much of our technology that we have today is actually based off science fiction.
Yeah,
because science fiction gets you trying to make it
you kind
real.
of think about it, and then you're like, okay, what can we and can't we do? But it was more of you start having to, when you get closer to that 1.0 Turing, the human intelligence level AI, you start having these ethical questions. Recently, there's been this big thing of have you seen it? The AI generated art, where it's
are you talking about the website?
Like Dolly, and then there's a new one called Stable Diffusion. And
for the record, Dolly didn't know who I was. I don't know if that one has to learn. But the problem is,
sucks. But at the same time, if Skynet happens, then I guess you're not a target, so you're good.
Well, no, Dolly.
They don't know what you look like.
Dolly and Dolly Mini were. Anytime you type Jayz, JayZ, JayzTwoCents, it would do JayZ stuff.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
So I did for fun JayzTwoCents riding a dolphin.
And it was JayZ riding
a dolphin. JayZ riding a dolphin.
That's great. That's funny.
It was just, it was all smudged and stuff, right?
Yeah.
So it was pretty obvious it wasn't me just by the skin tone.
So the thing is, yeah, you were talking about how it's smudged and everything. The newer generations of AI and stuff, they're starting to create stuff that you could publish as if you drew it. You know what I mean? The art is actually getting to the point where it's starting to look really good, and the ethics question, I guess, is kind of if you needed a piece of art just as a backdrop or something for your website or some asset or something like that, and it's just do you is this AI potentially taking the job of another artist that you could just contract to do that? You know what I mean? It's that's the weird kind of ethical, I don't want to say dilemma, because it doesn't really matter.
I think the business side of me feels like artists will just find a way to implement that to fulfill the needs of those coming to them.
Right.
Because
you're still in control of the AI at this point.
That's a dangerous sentence right there.
Yeah, well, I have to kind of assume that it could go either way. You don't know. We could end up in Horizon Zero Dawn.
If it becomes sentient enough to be aware of any backdoors and stuff, you would think the AI would then be able to somehow control that and remove it.
Yeah, that's why in Horizon the good AI took about 50 years to brute force it, because it was fighting back and forth with the encryption key and stuff. But yeah, I always thought that was kind of interesting that it's instead of somebody asking an artist hey, make me this dope anime style backdrop for my webpage or something like that, it's just I could just type something into Stable Diffusion and then get it out and then use it, and it's there goes somebody's commission work. So I've been seeing that discourse kind of back and forth on Twitter ever since these AIs came out. I just thought it was kind of an interesting thing, because it's what if your job got taken over? Because
plenty of people would say their job has already been taken over by AI, not just AI, but robotics in the minimum.
But usually,
all manufacturing.
But thinking we work in the art field, right? And that's probably one of the last places you would expect to see an AI take over.
Yeah.
And so it is kind of interesting.
You said we work in the art field?
Yeah.
I don't feel like what I do is art.
Well, but it's still, you know what I mean? You don't even talk
It's
about
a creative.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Like a creative field.
Could you imagine AI trying to do what I do? AI would not have the spoonerisms and the other things I have.
Or it would just
Or the charm.
It would only be spoonerism.
Well, it reminds me-
Digress.
It reminds-
Digress.
10-minute episode of just
Digress. I like boats. Digress.
Now
I fix
wanted
it.
JayzTwoCents like deep fake AI. That'd be
We
hilarious.
should have like an AI write a script for you. Just make it watch your YouTube videos and then write a script for something and
Right.
just see what happens.
Well,
Thank God the closed captioning has gotten better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, the crazy thing is the other way around has gotten better too. Like they're starting to have like AI voices that can, if you give it enough
Oh, yeah.
samples of a real voice, you know, like I think that's what they did for
Top Gun Maverick?
No, the green lightsaber dude. Luke.
Oh,
Spoiler alert. I'm not gonna say what series or anything, but yeah, they did do it for Luke for one Star Wars thingy, and it was kind of stiff and weird, but it did sound like him.
So it's kind of the beginning of being able to sort of replace actors as a whole.
and it's interesting.
I'm kind of okay with that.
Until Jay gets replaced by a full AI, and he just yeah. But then again,
I'll just be ready for it. I'll
Yeah.
just be ready to retire when that happens.
so I might be wrong, but I think in Top Gun they used AI for Val Kilmer's voice.
oh
Yeah, because he can't talk.
Yeah.
Yes. No, you're absolutely right.
That makes
My
sense.
wife, I think my wife was the one that showed me that article that it had learned from. They used AI that learned from all of his interviews and movies and stuff that he had done to synthesize a voice that would sound appropriate for his age.
Oh, okay.
And even then it was very rough and scratchy, obviously, because I mean, even in the movie they wrote in that he has throat cancer, so it's the only way they make
Yeah.
sense of it. But it was a lot of people believed he was really talking. They're
I
like, wait,
thought-
I thought he couldn't talk, but
Yeah,
you know,
I thought that was him. I really thought it was him, but I read the article after I watched
Yeah.
it, so I was like, "Oh wow!" Like I
That's
was
cool.
yeah,
even
no,
more shocked.
his vocal cords and larynx and all that were
We're all
destroyed.
gone. Yeah.
his Linux, his vocal
His
cords and his
Linux.
Linux,
Larynx.
Larynx,
Larynx.
Larynx.
Larynx. The next OS.
I want to see what an AI.
Well, yeah, an AI learned Linux would be Larynx.
Machine Larynx.
Machine learned.
This is why we're all screwed because we're all laughing at them now.
We're like,
who's laughing when we have the plasma watt in the 50 kilowatt range?
Do you want to live in a world that's AI dominant?
art?
No, I don't mean like AI. Every futuristic movie presents the idea of sentient beings and AI and robots and stuff doing things that normal people would do.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, like in iRobot, they had them as like the FedEx people and stuff, like walking around. You know, the
Yeah, yeah.
robots are doing that sort of like labor tasks, basically.
Right. Let's face it this way: robots and intelligence, whether it be AI or deep learning, whatever, it's in us. It's in our lives everywhere.
Yeah.
Right now. I mean, look at Amazon. Amazon's one of the only ways it can function at the size that it does is with the amount of machine learning that's handling all of the like order picking and doing the route guidance and all that stuff. It's all deep learned.
Yeah.
And it helps with the efficiency and stuff. But then, now they're talking about, AI drone drops and deliveries and all that sort of stuff. We've had this topic a lot come up over the years with.
I feel like it's
tech
happening
talks.
more often because of the fact that AI is becoming more and more prevalent.
You're like, we're more and more on the fringe.
And I mean, granted, like to use Horizon's Turing unit, we're probably still at like 0.1, 0.2 T,
Yeah.
But like,
To our knowledge.
but yeah, exactly.
Well,
you talk
That's our
about-
knowledge. We don't know what the deal.
You talk about AI taking over jobs and stuff, and I could see AI starting at the top and at the bottom at the same time.
Yeah.
Like you would have AI trash trucks that go around and take all the waste bins and all that sort of stuff. And a lot of jobs that people just wouldn't want to work.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is I don't feel like that. I've said this, I think it was in our last Tech Talk, or not Tech Talk, but RTFM show where I said, I feel like every job is important, whether from the most basic job all the way to the most technical job.
Right.
It creates an eco society that functions in a way
exactly.
where and it also shows how everything's kind of on the edge of collapse at all times when one wheel stops turning properly.
Yeah, we saw that in 2020, like how
Yeah.
just the tiniest disturbance can just.
But I'm not necessarily convinced either that those that would lose that job would necessarily get a better job. So I feel like it would create a worse poverty problem.
Right. Because it's almost like you would have to do the Star Trek Utopia kind of thing simultaneously with sentient AI, right? Where
Right.
it's just like you have to switch to a moneyless society where like basic needs are automatically taken care of already for everyone. And then we can have these AI things, and then they can.
Can you
do other
imagine a
tasks.
moneyless society though?
I mean, I watched enough Star Trek to but like imagine it actually existing with like real
Yeah.
people.
I don't think. I
Probably
don't
not.
think so.
I don't think so.
I don't think it'll ever happen.
Yeah, I don't see that.
I'm generally a positive person, but yeah, I mean,
I'm honest outlook. I feel like we're more closer to the Cyberpunk 2027, 2077 dystopia.
2027.
No, he's right. 2027. We're on an accelerated plan now.
2077.
Yeah, we're close. 2070. Like it's like where
Yeah.
the corporations just got bigger, And
Yeah, yeah,
like,
because that game, that whole like the corpos rule, the corpos are the government at that point because
Yeah.
they've like they're more powerful than like the NUSA's
Am I
government.
the only one that gets uncomfortable whenever you start talking about corporations? No, for the reason that like, I feel like anyone out there that is truly anti-corporate, like truly anti-corporate, is a hypocrite because
because
they
you can't-
use
Yeah.
everything in their life is currently created by
corpo,
large companies,
yeah.
large corporations, whether they're on their smart device.
Or you could be like pizza in chat saying, "That's it. I'm just living in the forest for now."
But no, though, think about it. Like the two-sidedness of the being anti-corpo. And I'm not saying I'm pro-corpo. I'm just saying for those that are like, I've seen some real all-in anti-corpo, just extreme movement. But they're using all the corporate-generated luxuries and devices to be anti-corpo.
Yeah.
So it's like if you were truly going to be anti-corpo, that means you can't wear any non-homemade clothing. Hope you built your house yourself, because I guarantee a corporation built that house. I hope you brought your own utilities in. And
Like-
you're living off the grid.
Yeah, it's
because
almost impossible to truly be anti-corpo because you can't lithography your own processor.
yeah, and it's
You know?
and it's
AO Intel, let me get some time on your fab for a sec.
but it's taken hundreds of years to get here.
Yeah.
But it's all based upon a society that has made tiny course corrections over the course of a long period of time, which is why you talk about AI in the future. If the little adjustments we make now regarding AI and how much of it is in our life,
Right.
what does that mean 100 years from now? Because none of this, I don't feel like currently in our lifetime.
I don't think it's gonna really matter, but we have to like start laying the foundation, right? Like at least like the first few bricks.
Let's
of it.
face it, we all really say we want to leave a better society and planet for our next generations. I don't think that many people are really living that way.
I mean, honestly, I feel like the vibe now is just trying
Survive.
to
Survive,
Yeah,
yeah.
just survive this like era of stuff until it's like,
like
then we'll work on the like the preserving the earth part.
it's the end of Halo Reach where it just says survive. You're like, oh, okay.
It's funny. We talk about like just things kind of regressing into a kind of a worse place. This week with the heat wave going on in the West and the South, like especially with here, today is the first real relief of that heat wave we've had. It's like only 93 degrees today. But look at the weather outside. It's windy as hell. It's raining. There's a hurricane off the coast of California. It's really weird. But for the first time this week, I personally have seen flex alerts and stuff come in through text message and through emails and stuff. But it's my first time. I was driving and I was actually on the phone with Brian, and my phone does the emergency broadcast system.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
It was going nuts, and it's like emergency conserve energy.
Yeah, I got like 3 text messages over this.
But did you get the emergency EAS system?
I have those disabled,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, you guys probably, if you guys got them, that means I would have gotten them if I had them enabled.
But it's the first time I've ever actually seen that.
Yeah.
I leave mine on because of Amber Alerts and stuff.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I've never seen them actually go, okay, we've got to use the red button on this, which makes me wonder how close were we to having a full.
I saw a graph. We were like a gigawatt away or something like that. Like we had a gigawatt in reserve.
Well, it's my understanding they
which
haven't.
is not that much.
But it's my understanding they avoided rolling blackouts still.
Yeah.
But no, I remember summers where we had rolling blackouts, but that was in the late 90s going into the early 2000s when we had the real power crisis happening in California. I know we kind of switched topics there, but it was really, I was driving back from the meeting the other day and I was just like, what is that sound? I started checking my mirror. I was like, am I getting pulled over? What is happening? Like, because I'd never heard that sound.
Getting pulled over by electrons?
No, the thing was because my phone was connected to Bluetooth, it was playing the sound through the Bluetooth in the car.
So it was just everywhere.
Yeah,
All right.
I was like, what is happening? I was so confused.
The electricity police are pulling you over.
I think so. Like,
I was like, I'm not in an electric car. I didn't charge it, I promise.
I know, right?
I think presently though, it's a struggle to like try to make things a better place where you left it while trying to survive simultaneously.
If you want to give an idea of just how nasty, gross, inconsiderate, self-absorbed humans are as a whole, Go anywhere people gather and look at what's left behind after.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sporting event, the park, the
Was it that
beach.
Woodstock video that you showed me?
No,
the
not even
thing I
that.
thought about?
No,
Oh,
no, that was a riot.
Yeah.
Okay, that was nasty during the whole
Right, the whole thing,
thing,
yeah.
but it turned into a riot. So I'm just talking about like, go to the movies.
Oh yeah.
Go to the movies and look at what's
Walk and
left.
your feet are just like all
No,
sticky. 'cause,
no.
like,
When
people
you leave
spill
the
crap.
movie and the movie's
Yeah.
over and you get up and you learn, just stand around, wait till all the people are out, and look at how much crap. You know why that crap's left? Because people say it's kind of like when I said last week. Like my rant was people that their time is more important than anyone else's.
There it is.
Anyone that leaves garbage behind. Anyone in chat too, if you do this, then I kind
dumping it out of your
of feel like
car.
if you do this, you're kind of a piece of crap, and I'm okay with you not liking me if I feel like you're a piece of crap for littering. But
Yeah.
if you leave crap behind because you feel like, oh, it's someone else's job to clean that up,
No.
then you're POS.
Yep.
It's like rule of thumb
Agreed.
is like pack in, pack out.
Well, I'm a Boy Scout. I'm an Eagle Scout, and we were always taught when you go in someplace, zero impact. If you're going camping or whatever, no impact. There should be no sign you were there when you leave.
you're a ghost,
And if
yeah.
there was any sign that someone was there prior to you getting there,
Leave
you
it
take
better
it
than
with
you
you.
left. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Leave it better than you found it.
I think, yeah. I mean, one of the most recent experiences I had with that was we fly at our park. Usually, one guy he did an oil change on the concrete pad where we usually land our drones.
Oh, yeah,
just
yeah,
drip
yeah.
oil
And,
everywhere.
yeah, he just left a puddle of oil in
First of all, why would
cardboard.
anyone be doing an oil change in the park?
No idea. No idea. But like, he left his cardboard and like just puddles of oil everywhere. He didn't bother cleaning it up.
Yay.
I was like, dude, really? Like,
But you know, I feel like a lot of that mentality comes from that's learned behavior, by the way.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
That's
yeah,
learned behavior. I mean, humans are naturally gross. Just going to a public restroom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, I think that type of like, whatever, someone else will deal with it, someone else's problem. That to me is learned behavior, and it's the sincerest form of disrespect,
Yep.
and
It's-
it irks
it's
me.
It's exactly like you said. Like it's the like other like my time is more important than anyone else's. Like, and I hate that so much about that mentality because it permeates so far into those people's lives. Like they're the same people that'll just stand in the middle of the aisle looking for their like box of mac and cheese that they need or whatever at the grocery store, right?
Yeah.
And like there's like 4 people in the carts trying to get past them or whatever, and they're just like,
staring at the fridge.
yeah, exactly. And it's like, dude, like take a step back. You can still look at the fridge, and then people.
Well, it's like what I said about everyone standing at the bar at Starbucks, like waiting for their drinks. Like,
Yeah,
get the F out of the way.
Or
No.
like people that try to rush the train as soon as the doors open. It's like, people have to get out for you to fit.
Yeah. So I mean, it's
It's
like I don't know if
so
someone
dumb.
said this in chat already. Probably someone's thought it. They're like, well, wait a minute. There's people whose job it is to clean that up, and that is their problem. It is their job. No, the problem existed first. That had to create the solution to the problem, which was the paying of someone minimum wage to go and pick up your garbage.
Right.
If you didn't leave garbage behind, that person would be off doing something else at the facility or the theater or whatever. But no, you wouldn't be able to argue saying, yeah, people are paid to pick that up, so I'm just making sure they have job security. It doesn't work that way.
Exactly. That's such like a cop-out answer.
Like if everyone did that at a movie theater, they would need more staff on hand
Yeah,
just
like-
to deal with that.
Well, they would
Exactly.
still be dealing with the trash. It would be dealing with it in the bin like it's supposed to where it's supposed to go to either recycling or the major bins and
No,
all
you were
that.
saying like if everyone littered,
yeah, if
Oh.
everyone littered,
like
yeah.
because of
like
that
if everyone
mentality.
left their popcorn and stuff. Like at least I try to pick up a couple things from my row as I leave,
Yeah.
But like,
Well, I have to tell my kids all the time. We get up to leave the movies, and I'm like, hey, get your crap. Because
Yeah.
they'll leave it sitting in the seat next to them. And that's what I mean by, like, I'm saying that's learned behavior. Because if you're a parent and your kid just leaves it behind and you don't say anything, you just let it stay behind,
Yeah.
you're the
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah.
The problem is learned, so... It's I guess we really went off on a tangent. How we went from AI to picking up trash in the
we went from
theater.
Horizon Zero Dawn to trash. in
And
the
this is
theater.
why AI needs to exist, because it can stay on task.
Yeah.
It can stay on topic.
Maybe after the apocalypse, the new humans will learn to not
The
litter.
new humans?
Yeah, that's what they are because it's a whole brand new. There was a period of time on the Earth's history where there was no humans at all because the robots ate them all. So yeah, the new humans.
Wait. If the robot ate them all,
Yeah.
then they couldn't have eaten them all.
So you're trying to
No,
tell me
the plan was to like save the human genome and a bunch of like represented like they had like 1,000 like representative like genome.
So
samples
it's
for
just the
everyone.
Jurassic Park, but a human version.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And then instead of the park keeping it in for fun, they were keeping the humans in the vault for
Safety.
like survival into the
Yeah.
next period after they crack the code and turn the robots off.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I thought that was so cool though that like they actually did let the apocalypse happen because every other story it's like stop the apocalypse before it happens. I mean, look at Terminator, right?
Look at Thanos.
Yeah.
I mean,
You're right,
Thanos
actually,
was
no,
on to
you're right.
something. No, I'm not even joking. Like the entire MCU,
That's what made him such a good character is because
Yeah.
it makes sense. His
because he's
argument makes
not
sense.
just evil.
Yeah.
He's not just evil. I mean, it sucks. That
Obviously, he's evil because he wants to
go. He was going in and destroying like civilizations.
He's gonna kill half of living beings.
No, I'm talking about just the fighting he did along trying to find the stones. But the whole MCU. The more I like learn what Thanos was all about in the MCU, because it's a little different than the comics. It's like, you know what? I want to talk to Thanos. I just want to sit down and have like a hot ones moment with him. And be like, hey.
Yeah, well, you have some soup with him.
Good soup.
Yeah, because he seems like he seems rational. He actually, believe it or not, to me, seems rational.
And I think that's what makes him such a good villain, because you're just like, he does have a point, but we do have to stop him.
Because remember,
he has a point.
And again, we are so far past Endgame now that the statute of limitation has limited. But when he snapped and it all went down, and I guess that was Infinity War where that happened, but still.
Yeah.
And she asked him, Gamora's like, younger spirit, asked him, did you do it? Yes. Would it cost everything? And he's upset. You can tell he knows what he did.
Yeah.
But he also knows why he did it.
And that his his idea of the future is, going to be a better place.
Yeah, he accepted that though. Like he didn't.
Yeah.
He was okay with that, and he knew what was going through with the process. It
so,
isn't.
Someone asked why.
That's why he says curse with
someone asked
knowledge,
why, instead of deleting half of the people, why not just make other planets inhabitable? You can't just make a planet inhabitable.
Well, I guess Thanos could, because if you have all the stones.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I guess. So just make the entire universe a green zone.
Yeah, exactly. Or just
then you're just gonna create more life.
Why didn't you just wish for double the food instead
double
of half
the resources,
half the people?
double the people. Hold
You're
up.
right. That's a good point. Whoever said that in chat, that's a really good point. Yeah, why didn't he just ask for double the food?
Because wouldn't. Okay, I guess it's the same argument.
Like all the
if you create half the need versus doubling the resources, it's still the same problem. Because eventually, if you have half, cut in half what's necessary, people and their needs, they're going to grow back to where they were. But that's how they got there.
It would also, I'm pretty sure, it's the Infinity Stones, but I'm pretty sure there has to be a cost involved too for generating more material like out of thin air.
Yeah, that's the cost.
Well,
in that situation,
once you have all the stones, you're in God mode, no clip. Like this is
the quintessential. You have 3 wishes.
Yeah,
except only you have one wish.
Yeah,
and it's one wish that has to cover everything. So he can't be like, okay, I want there to be twice as many inhabitable planets, twice as many raw materials and resources and food, and everyone's happy. And then come back and go, sorry, you must choose one.
He snaps and then just a blue screen pops up on the gauntlet.
Wait, it's dun 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 dun.
Yeah.
Oh no, wait, dunk.
Oh, crap. It's like error, too many variables in your wish. Please wish again.
Please make simple.
And then Thor just stabs him in the head as he's trying to wish again.
Okay, so I changed my topic. Talking about higher authorities.
Yeah.
So New York, in Rochester, I don't know if it's Rochester specifically, but in New York State, they are proposing a bill right now called the ISA, which is the Active Intelligent Speed Act.
Wow.
It says all vehicles sold by January 1st, 2024
back to AI.
must have an ISA compliant system installed, which basically would be street sign recognition, speed recognition, GPS location, all that, to curb speeding, where all vehicles basically would only be able to travel at the exact posted speed.
That's going to be no from me, Doug.
I think that's going to be no from just about everybody. The problem is these are the kind of rules that, then this goes back to my extreme distrust of government. These are the kinds of laws that kinds of laws that get put in place without public
knowledge.
No, not knowledge. Input. Like it's not voted on by the public. It just go to the lawmakers, I honestly feel like just like the electric vehicle in California by 2035 thing, I think it's a feel-good bill that won't pass, but I think it's just so that somebody could say on their resume, they tried. I tried to stop this. They say that it will lead to about 20% reduction in collisions.
That's a low number still.
Because what they're trying to build upon is they also are saying they want every vehicle to have crash avoidance, crash detection, lane change keeping.
All that's fine.
Yeah, and that stuff exists on cars that have features that you can pay for it.
Yeah.
Right? But I don't know. And this isn't as somebody that owns sports cars and stuff. It's not like I go down the road 150 miles an hour everywhere I go.
Yeah.
Only some places. But no, seriously, it's like, can you imagine what it would be like if you bought a vehicle and it can only go as fast as the speed limit says on that sign. Now everyone at some point in any time they drive speed, whether they accidentally went 5 over, 10 over because you're just cruising. I think the rule of thumb is a lot of people
5 over your
5 to 10 over. I'm not even talking about tickets.
Yeah.
I'm just talking about like the flow.
Yeah.
This is not advice, by the way. Don't listen to us.
I'm saying as society, like right now, if you were to sit out front with a radar gun, everyone going down that street's going about 5 to 10 miles an hour
Yeah,
faster
if it's
than
45,
than
everyone's going 50 to 55.
Do you know how many irritated cops I've had pass me when I'm doing the speed limit? Like, around they go.
Oh yeah, no, trust me, because I almost never go past 5 over just because gas mileage, because I'm driving the hybrid and I'm hypermiling. And yeah, I see cops have tailgated me and then passed me pissed off, and like, you know, a bunch of other cars and stuff like.
But my problem with this is not the fact that I get it, speed kills, it's true.
Yeah.
But I think you really need to look at the bigger root of the problem. This is one of those like, what can Big Brother do to control society?
Yeah, that's the thing. It feels like it just feels weird that
if the Autobahn and in its speed, and yeah, I know we're talking about city streets and stuff here. I'm moving to highways
just everywhere
at this point.
Okay.
If the Autobahn and vehicles traveling 200, 250 kilometers an hour plus are not, you're not seeing these fiery wrecks every single day all over the news of people dead because of speed. I feel like you could look at that as a use case and at least learn from it.
Yeah.
Rather than trying to double down and be like, okay, we need to make cars slower and they can't possibly speed kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to tell you right now, I've been in plenty of U-Hauls and Penske trucks and stuff where they have governors on them at like 60 miles an hour and I'm going down the freeway foot to the floor. And like, I feel like I'm actually
being a danger, right?
Yes,
you're going so
because
slow compared
if
to
you
the flow.
have to get around something for some reason, or you have to close a gap or whatever, you have one less option available to you when it comes to driving. Now, look, I have more driver experience than a lot of people because of all the track training and all the instruction and track time and years of it. So I feel like I have a lot more experience than a lot of people when it comes to the road and just situational awareness around me. But you can't program out stupid.
Yeah.
Facts.
You can't. I feel like if you involve something like this, you're going to take more of the driver out of the driver, and over time you're going to create a idiocracy version of driving.
It's already happening. You know what I mean? Like how many like car crash compilations have we seen where like people can't learn how to correct a slide correctly because no cars are rear wheel drive anymore. And so like, you know what I mean? Like my freaking mom knows how to drift a car because she did in her Thunderbird because it was rear wheel drive back then. She accidentally got into a slide and she said she recovered it, right? And it's like, you know what I mean? Nowadays, like you see so many like an Ultima or something just fishtailing and then doing a 360 on the freeway because of one little tiny correction because somebody almost merged into them. And it's like, you know what I mean? It's like, yeah, you can make better vehicle stability systems, sure, but it's also just like there's this collective knowledge that has gone away because cars have gotten overly safe.
The
right?
problem here
It's
is
and I'm not trying to say like overly safe as in like, oh, we should be hurting more people in car crashes. I'm saying like because of the we've been fortunate enough to switch to these more reliable, more safe systems like front wheel drive and and that sort of stuff. But like, yeah, it's just like people just don't like they're not going to learn it in driving school because driving school just teaches you how the roads work.
So yes.
They don't teach you how the car works.
They teach you and correct me if I'm wrong. I believe just about I think the driver's tests in Europe, most of them require it to be taken in a manual. I could be wrong.
Yeah. You have to have a separate license that's lower classed if you're automatic only.
Yeah.
In Europe. Yeah,
but no, I've told this story before on RTFM show, and I think it was obvious it was before the hiatus. But the Mercedes, the company vehicle, I told the story about how when the salesman sold it to me, he talked about how it had a crash detection system and it can absorb 30% or more of the crash and keep the driver safer. And I'm like, what does that mean? And I'm telling the story for those that haven't heard it, but I'm like, what does that mean it can absorb? And the salesman, you could tell he didn't have a deep knowledge of it. And I went, okay.
Just kind of reading the brochure.
Yeah, I'm like, you know what? Fine. No, this salesman, Nick was there when we bought the car, but he knew a lot about the vehicle.
Yeah.
It's just he didn't know a lot about the tech behind the crash detection stuff. So I experienced it firsthand when I wasn't tailgating by any means. I mean, traffic was moving. It was going a good 10 to 15 miles an hour over the speed limit. But somebody 3 or 4 cars up made a stupid move and everyone behind them overreacts and smashes on their brakes, right? Because those that don't have driver experience or actually know how to control a vehicle, their primal response is brake.
Yeah.
That's it.
Which is
Brake!
which spins you harder if you're already.
If you don't have anti-lock. But just smash the brakes, just stop, and that's all they can think of. But so this chain reaction of brake, 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 brake happened, and the car in front of me starts to swerve because he's, the reaction time gets smaller every time someone reacts.
Right.
Because of all the track experience that I have, I immediately started pushing the brake pretty hard. But I have this habit of going foot to brake, eye to mirror, because I also want to keep this buffer period between
because you
the
don't
car
get
behind
rear-ended trying to avoid.
and the braking system in the AMG is really good. So you don't want.
I've experienced it.
It's easy to overbrake. So it's just a natural instinct for me. It's foot to brake, eye to mirror.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of keeping this buffer zone where, okay, I'm applying just enough brake to make sure I don't hit the car in front of me.
Yeah.
But make sure
also
the guy
giving
behind me has room to
them
stop.
some room,
Yeah.
But the car decided I wasn't doing it right.
Okay. I know where this is going.
Immediately, I feel the rumble in the pedal of the ABS pump doing the braking for me. And it brakes harder. And I'm like, I'm thinking to myself, shoot, and I start to actually lift off the pedal a little bit. But the problem is the pedal's already soft
The computer's already
it's
taking
doing
over.
it.
Yeah, it's already holding the.
And I'm looking in the mirror and I'm thinking to myself, crap, I don't want this guy to rear end me. But the thing that really bothered me is the car decided at that moment the right thing to do was lane change, because it has 360 cameras and sonar all around the vehicle. So it decided there was a big enough gap to my right to try and move in there. But what the computer didn't see that I saw in the mirror was traffic in that lane was still moving past us. So as the car immediately started to go right, and I felt it in the wheel because it's electric steering. I felt it in the wheel. I immedially pulled it back left.
Yeah, because you can still muscle it, right?
You have to be able to override it.
Yeah. Like, there's your Turing, like 0.2 T right there. You know what I mean?
But I immediately started pulling the car back to the left. And as soon as I did that, the car realized, okay, he wants it. So it let go of everything. And then I continued.
Oh, it let go of even the brake?
I felt the brake pressure come back.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, wow.
Which is fine because I still had my foot where it needed to be.
Right.
And I probably stopped less than the depth of this table from the car in front of me. But the crazy part was during all of that, I don't gangster lean when I'm driving. I sit pretty upright.
Yeah.
I think you even lean back more than I do. I sit very upright in my seat. Maybe not. I don't know. But it in less than a second changed our sitting position. The seat, I'd never seen a power seat move that fast. It was
wow.
Both my wife and I were set upright. The seat cushion came up a little bit. Like in the front, the height of the thighs.
It's almost kind of putting you in like a brace-ish position.
But then the seatbelt went and it tightened.
Yeah.
So that's what he meant by the intelligent crash detection. So,
That's pretty cool.
AI,
using
all the data of what was happening, driver input, what the sonar in front of it was saying was happening, like, hey, that car is coming up pretty quick. What's happening over here? It made all these choices. But what about the absorption of impact was about the sitting position.
Right.
And it put us at an optimal distance from the airbag. Because one of the things you do in this car is you actually tell it where's the height of the person in each seat on average.
Okay, so it knows, like, you know what I mean, how close they have to be and how close it can get to the too close to the airbag thing. Yeah.
Yes. And so it moved. I'm already all the way back. So it didn't do anything. My wife, I saw her go like this. I saw her go up and then slightly forward.
That's crazy.
And I think that might have been like to help the rear because her seat's normally all the way back too.
Right.
But it moved her up, I think, so that she would be able to make contact with the airbag.
Right.
I don't know if that would be better than just letting the 3-point seatbelt take the impact, but that's the kind of stuff that this ISA in New York is also calling for. I'm perfectly fine with all of that.
Yeah.
Like perfectly fine with all that. But I feel like a lot of our legislature just keeps going down this path of, okay, people are stupid, so what can we do to program out their stupid?
It's almost like the reactive stuff is fine. Like when it's reacting to a situation that you've placed it in to make you safer, I think that stuff is fine. But then when it's starting to preempt the humans' decisions is where it gets into this weird ethical gray mat.
I feel like every driver, so you don't have to prove so in California, I can't speak to every state. There's 50 states. They all have their different DMV or Department of Motor Vehicle requirements for getting a license. Some are stricter and leaner than others. In the state of California, you are not required to show proof of taking a driver's ed class, which I had to when I was a kid. But anymore, you don't have to. All you have to do is pass the test.
Yeah, the written
and the behind the wheel. You have to take it behind the wheel.
Yeah.
But when I was in high school, it was required that so many hours of driver's training had to be had.
That was still there for me. Did you have to do it? Yeah, I had to have like a certain amount of hours with my permit. like with my mom and my uncle, in the car with me and stuff, and then like a certain amount of hours, like with an instructor.
Oh, okay.
And then I could take the written test and the driving test.
I did my stuff when I was 18, though.
Yeah, so did I.
Okay.
But I was 18 in 2006, so I don't know when.
Yeah, we're talking like 1997 here.
Yeah, so at least it was still the same thing for me.
But when I did it,
'06-ish.
though, driver's ed was still offered in high school. Not anymore.
Oh wow!
Yeah, no,
I had to go to the actual driving school in Rancho.
Okay, so James Hoffa is saying you still have to take driver's ed if you're under 18. So maybe that's the difference. If you're 18 or up,
right?
As a quote unquote, I say quote unquote adult because no 18-year-old is really an adult. I know how I was at 18, so speaking from experience. I guess that's probably omitted at that point. But what I was going to say is, to your point, I feel like all of that driver's training needs to happen, but I feel like every single person should have access to a defensive driving class that takes place at a speedway or something like that.
Yeah.
Because I didn't learn a single thing about defensive driving or vehicle dynamics. Like,
all people need to experience.
Yeah.
All people need to experience is the feeling of losing traction.
Yeah.
What you've lost traction because you're braking too hard. You lost traction because you're understeering. You lost traction because it's wet. You lost traction because you accelerated too hard in a turn. People need to feel where the limits are. Now, yes, the limits are different on every car.
Yeah.
But at least having an example. So many people think like, oh my God, that off ramp, and it goes back to the speeding thing. I take off ramps way too fast because I love track driving, but. That off-ramp says 45, I'm going 47, we're going to die! And then they start like slamming on their brakes because they think like, oh
Turning
crap.
and slamming on the brakes, and then what happens? Oh, the back end's coming out, and then
So they think if they go 1 mile an hour over the posted speed limit on a ramp, they're going to go flying off that ramp.
Yeah.
Honestly, the biggest red flag to me in the whole ISA thing is the cost it would to retrofit older vehicles.
It probably won't apply to older vehicles.
If they required older vehicles to have it
No,
too.
again, all this stuff is about every vehicle sold.
Yeah.
Okay, so it won't be a retrofit.
Yeah,
Do you really think 1 year and 3 months is enough time for every vehicle being sold to have that system? Because let me tell you what they're relying on. They're relying on cameras that can
read the signs.
which my vehicle has, and it sucks. I turned it off.
Yeah, they're still faulty because
I've told that story. And then GPS. But I'm gonna tell you right now, GPS is not perfect either. If you have a parallel road close enough to you and the GPS accuracy is off. I could not figure out this same Mercedes. I could not figure out why I'd be driving down the highway, minding my own business, and I would use the active cruise control a lot. It was nice. And then I'd just be trucking along my own business, and then the car would just brake check. And then I look like I'm brake checking the person behind me, and people are flipping me off and getting all pissed. I'm like, I don't know, why is it doing this?
Yeah.
Then I realized that it has the active speed control. And what that means is that it was doing GPS geolocation and using the camera, because there's 3 cameras. There's a sonar in the grill and there's 3 cameras in the windshield. And it was using those cameras to detect street signs. And it would adjust its speed, not based on the flow of traffic, but what the speed limit sign said. Which already, if your car's adjusting itself to the speed limit, you're going too slow in California. You already know that.
Yeah.
If the traffic's moving.
Yeah.
The problem was if there was a parallel road to the highway and a street sign was visible, it saw that. And parallel roads are like 40, 45 miles an hour.
Yeah.
So that's why it was brake checking, because it was like, oh my God, you're 30 miles an hour over the speed limit. Time to slow down.
You guys seen the article floating around about Tesla, how their braking distance to an intersection actually changes depending on the size of the stop sign? So if they had a bigger stop sign, it would actually brake further back.
Oh, because it thinks it's closer visually?
I've traveled to quite a few states, and I can't necessarily recall seeing stop signs be a different size.
In the article, it was the same guy, but on different streets, the signs were actually different. Like, he actually had photos of them measured differently. So according to the size of the sign,
so it's only using the sign size. It's not even pinging like what's the distance or away or anything. It's just saying what's the size of that sign, and it's using that math to say, based on the size the sign should be.
That's how close he is, kind of deal.
Yeah.
To
that
it.
doesn't seem like the best method. Because what if there's a tree blocking stuff? We have that crap all the time in my neighborhood where trees are hanging down and blocking signs. You don't see them till you're on top of it.
Yeah. I can't really comment because I don't know if they have a depth camera system or not.
I would
would
find the article
assume
again.
they would have a depth camera, but I don't know. I don't have a horse in the race.
There's
or
got
an
to
electron in the race, because
there's gotta be another.
I would assume, like, if I was building a computer vision system for a car, I would definitely include at least 2 matched cameras that are, like on 2 sides of the windshield, so that you could get depth estimation.
Well, yeah, it's just like at least the system that's in Mercedes. Like I said, it's a
or
sonar.
every VR headset.
It's a sonar.
Yeah.
And it's also cross-referencing data from the actual camera.
Right.
And it's basically saying, does this match?
Isn't it also kind of funny, like random digression, but like, isn't it funny that basically our cars have the same tech as an F-22? Like they're all doing sensor fusion now.
It's all based off military tech.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, FireWire was invented to be the interconnect in F-22s. I love that. I love the fact that like
that shows you how long ago they designed the F-22.
And then they turned it into iPods so you can just transfer your 1,000 songs faster. But yeah, no, like
I would think that FireWire was the actual wire you fired the missiles with.
Firewire.
No, they would have called it Fox 2 wire.
Fox 2.
Same thing. Fox.
Someone somewhere is Fox Channel's Channel 2. You know it's Fox 2, right? Welcome to Fox 2.
It's radar. Radar.
It's kind of news.
It's some sort of R.
I'm taking a sip after that one.
Oh, that was a good topic.
I'm a car guy. I never want to have the driver removed from the car. I don't care about self-driving, full self-driving. I don't care about any of that. I'm a driver.
I want a full self-driving daily, but I still want a fun car, that I can.
Well, the active
drive
stop and
shift
go
the gears
assist in traffic is a godsend, especially near LA. Just okay, boop boop. Max speed set it to 40. That way, if things start moving, then I'll take over at 40.
Right.
But it's just like, okay, I will literally be there with like sitting there texting on my phone and look up, look down, look up, look down. Because when you're in stop and go, active stop and go assist, you don't have to touch the wheel.
Yeah.
But if you're using,
I look at the chat's like arguing over whether it's LiDAR or sonar, or it's like, dude, they could use all 3. They're all detection and ranging systems. That's what the DAR in the word is for.
yeah, DAR, don't be a DAR. DAR.
Gotta figure it out, man.
As far as I know, though, I think the Model 3 does have ultrasound sonar for like the fine, like when the parking sensors and
So
stuff.
you're in a car, you're gonna hear bing.
What's ultrasound? It's not.
No, I'm just thinking of the video
like,
with the.
like a submarine.
No, I'm thinking of the video with the diver.
Yeah, you just see a Model 3 parking, and you just hear like. It's just like what submarine is pinging me in this parking lot right
I'm
now?
sure there's a clip. There has to be a clip out somewhere of like trying to like Tesla parking, but it
They just
switches
add
back
the
to like
son-
a Hunt
the
to Red
sonar
October,
ping, yeah.
and they're listening for the sub.
It's not even a realistic thing. It's like the Hollywood ping. Where you just hear,
Well, no, you hear.
dude, if they were parking next to my car, you'd hear. My car's been hit here at work, like randomly, and then they left a note with a fake phone number, and then it got hit in a friggin' like.
Your car's been hit 3 or 4 times since I've known you.
Yeah. And I was just like, dude, I swear to I think like literally a gray Honda Civic is just an invisible car to everyone for some reason. I don't know, whatever.
Yeah. No, you can't program out stupid. That's my only message.
Facts.
Someone in chat asked if I would talk about the ban of gas cars or if that's too controversial. I would say, where were you last week?
Yeah, we did talk about it.
You can't be late to the party and be like, yo, where's the beer?
Unless you're bringing more beer.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Don't be
So-
the guy showing up late empty-handed.
So
Yeah.
bring more gas cars.
Bring us more gas cars.
Yep.
Sure glad I had a gas car last week.
It still sounds funny to me that we have to specify now, like, oh, it's a gas car. It's like, what else would it be? Duh.
I mean, I have
Duracell.
a few vehicles, and what I love is when people are like, "Why do you have all these vehicles with gas prices?" It's like, I can't drive them all at the same time. It makes no difference to me if I'm depending. You know what happens? I just drive the one that's better on gas mileage if it's really expensive. It's not like I can drive them all at the same time.
The coincidence too is all of your cars are bad at gas mileage. So it really doesn't matter for Jay because he's always gonna get crap gas mileage.
Legit at the wedding, after the rehearsal dinner, I was listening to the podcast, and you guys were talking about that.
Yeah.
And one of the people that were coming up had a Tesla, but they didn't plan the charging stations on the route. So,
Oh, no,
So
the-
on the wedding night, we had to figure out how to get their car charged to make it back to the Airbnb. And I'm just like, bro, like no one plans charging routes, but I was
Well,
also,
Tesla's supposed to for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how that works.
Either that or you just ignored it because
That's on them for sure, dude. That's like
Tesla is supposed to be giving you warnings along the way. Hey, you're getting your range versus where we know the nearest charging station is this is like the last chance. You better go.
Yeah,
you know,
you have
it's
to
supposed
go.
to tell you.
But I was like, dang, you guys were hitting the topic without me there, and I was like, it makes sense. And I was just I was in my car.
Wow.
Now you understand what I mean when I say I will never own an EV until I'm like probably retired or whatever. Because I too randomly going to IKEA or going to LA or something, and I have range anxiety.
You need juice. Yeah. Meanwhile, me like.
Well, that's why I feel like
Actually, I think there's EV chargers at IKEA, but
I feel
still,
like you
Probably.
could own an EV, but not as an only car. But I mean, I don't think that's a problem for you because you don't ever own an only car at this point.
Like for if you're commuting to here and work, cool. Like EV. Because
no, I already said an EV would be perfectly fine for my wife.
Yeah.
The only issue is I feel like she would maybe not stay on top of the charging at first.
Yeah, you're definitely gonna get a call that's like, oh no, my car's dead.
Because there's a habit. You got to park plug in. You know?
I feel like it's kind of a rite of passage for an EV owner. Like they have to know where they find that limit and see what happens. That way, like, okay, I know what happens now and be in that situation.
Yeah.
To like always be on top of charging.
You know
I
what's
mean, I
funny
don't know,
is-
have you guys run out of gas ever? Because I've ran out of gas once, and
I've run
Wow,
out of
really?
gas a few times.
yeah, okay.
No, there was
so
a-
Nick's next. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen sometime.
Well, okay.
Yeah, I
I've
made it out
never.
of the parking lot at work in LA, and then it's just like I'm driving. Oh,
No.
I just called my friend. Hey, do you guys have a gas can?
I've never run out of gas like on the side of the road. I've always because especially when
At the track?
no.
Okay.
No, I'm just like getting around.
A straight
Guys,
up-
I didn't always have a bunch of cars and a YouTube channel and stuff. Okay, I have lived a real life with struggles.
I thought you
Okay.
just came out of the womb in a Camaro that had 9 million horsepower or something. I don't know.
No, that was my 6th birthday.
It's just 6
Okay. No. I've run out of gas like more than once when I had my 85 Ranger pulling into the gas station.
Oh,
I'm like,
So
okay,
you gotta
come
do
on,
the-
come on,
you gotta
come on,
coast
come on,
into
come
the-
on, come on,
coast
come on,
into the
and
thing.
then it's a stick shift, right?
Yeah.
And then turning into the thing, I'm like, give it a little bit of gas and right.
You just clutch in and then hope you roll to the pump. Yeah.
No, I've literally done that. Here's the pump. And it's like
And then you gotta get out and like take the 5 steps to push it.
I've had that happen multiple times.
I'm way too anxious to do that. Like, I mean,
And I'm gonna put this out there because chat. I think I really need to do a video at some point again, maybe on the second channel or something about like the experiences I've had with one, not having a home for a while, and 2, having to be the guy at the gas station asking people for money for gas. Like I've been there. It sucks.
Dang.
No, I've been there and it sucks. And that's one of the things that I'm very conscious about expenditures and stuff because of that. But yeah, no, running out of gas though to me is like the worst. That's like the worst thing. So I've only experienced it pulling into the station. Never like I'm on the side of the road. Then the car dies. At least now cars, when by the time they give you a warning light, you've got 2 or 3 gallons still left in there because of idiots that will just push it and push it and push it. But
See, my fix for that was because the Golf had a really like unreliable float in the tank. So it would say like, oh, you have an 1/8 of tank left, and then suddenly you would just be empty. And then my solution was just always fill up at a quarter.
Yeah,
like quarter
that's-
is empty to me. And
that's
then
my rule of thumb as well.
Yeah, exactly. And then that's how I treated it. With the Civic though, I have ran it down to like 1/20th of the gauge, where it just says E.
On the Z, for sure, I do it at quarter tank just because I've seen everyone fuel starve on track. It's like, I don't want to be ever
Yeah, that
get
was
in
another reason
position.
too. The Golf. That every time I made a right turn,
well, no,
it would
I've had it
stutter.
happen. So the Z suffers from bad fuel starvation on right-hand sweepers.
Yeah.
So many times, I think you felt
Why
it
was it a
too.
right turn? It was a right turn for my Golf too. Every
Yeah.
time I turned a right turn, it would stutter when I was like below a quarter tank or something.
But no, in the Z, I'd be on a sweeper like a button wheel. It's
Yeah, you get a little bit of like a.
When you
But-
start dropping frames in a Seto and you're
Fortunately, none of my boost cars though have that issue because fuel starvation and under boost, that would be bad. That would be
Yeah,
bad.
it would be. Why is there fire coming out of the? Do you imagine if electron starvation happened?
the lipos
like
on one
G-forces
side.
affect your battery? Yeah.
The XT60 connector is just like.
Dude, that would be. This is a way tangent, but like that'd be. Dude, imagine that experiment. Run a Tesla off an XT60. It would be glowing hot the moment you like tried to take off from the light.
To kind of wrap up the EV discussion though, I'm not. I hope people have understood. I'm definitely more anti-Tesla than I am anti-EV. I don't like the company that Tesla is. I don't like the quality control problems that they have. I don't like the leadership of the company. There's so many things about the company that make me not want to support with my wallet at all. I do believe that they have sat around with their fingers in their butt long enough for other companies to catch up Like Volvo.
Yeah.
Volvo's EV division turns into Polestar, which I didn't know. I didn't know.
Oh, yeah. I didn't know that was
I did
Volvo.
not. Polestar was Volvo's EV arm.
I thought that was like the performance arm because I remember they had like a Polestar C30 back in the day, which was a really neat hatchback.
I don't know about that.
Okay.
I just know
Nick's a
that
Polestar.
the only reason I even know that Polestar is an arm of Volvo is because of South OC Cars and Coffee is one of their sponsors, and I didn't know that until then. But I would own one of those. Hell, I would probably even own one of the newer Hyundais.
The Hyundais look nice.
Yeah, I mean, remember we were talking about that at IKEA? Like, I was like, I think I'm an Ioniq 5 fanboy now. Like, over the
because as it went by,
Model 3,
you were
for
like,
sure.
"Damn, that looks good."
Dude, they look great. Like, I'm like, oh, my
as
gosh,
long
I
as
love
it carry the old Hyundai stigma is gone,
Yeah,
I'm fine with
I
it.
honestly think it is. I honestly think like
they stepped
Hyundai
up
and
from
Kia,
where they were for sure.
Yeah, Hyundai and Kia have made insane strides in like becoming a real like big boy car company for sure. Like even the Kia Optima is like I think is a dope car. So
I really like Rivians. Like
My neighbor has a Rivian,
Yeah.
and then now Rivian has the SUV version.
Oh. I like the pickup truck though, just because the modular insert thing. I was like,
I also like that the Rivian. So if I were gonna get an EV truck, I'd probably get a Rivian for sure. And everyone's like, Cybertruck, that's junk. Screw Cybertruck. So, but I like Rivian's like camping features.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's what stuck out to me.
Yeah, it creates lighting, has all the external plugs. You can plug in stuff, charge things. You know,
yeah, same with the F-150 Lightning. I always thought that the
I saw one on the road the other day. They were weird looking.
Really?
Really?
Yes, the
I thought
top.
they look good in videos.
No,
and
I'm
stuff.
talking about the undercarriage.
Really?
Oh.
Yes.
Is it weird?
So where you would typically see like a rear axle and brake lines
Oh,
and
yeah.
stuff.
Oh, it's just
you
flat.
see no. They didn't there's no covers to make it look they wanted to look like a spaceship. I'm telling you right now. Because underneath you see each direct motor drive on each wheel.
Oh, that's
that's
And then you can see
cool.
like the heat sink of like where the
That's
battery is.
kinda cool.
I was like, as I'm going by, I'm like, wow.
So you're telling me it looks like the underside of a warthog,
And then you're-
right?
and then
Kinda, yeah. Yeah, but
imagine-
then I passed it. I was actually in the R8. It's funny. I started to pass it because I wanted to see the grill. But then he did the freaking Ford Lightning thing where he's on his own. He took off, and I was like, "Bro, I'm not racing you. I will kick your ass in the R8." But I just wanted to see what was in place of the grill. But I never got to see because he took it as, "Yeah, was racing me."
Yeah.
So off he went. You
I
know?
guess we got to visit a Ford
No,
dealership.
he had to go. Where did Paul Walker's character work at? Because he had a. He had
Oh,
a
yeah,
Lightning, right?
Harry's.
Yeah, he had to go to Harry's.
The
real
Racer's
quick.
Edge.
He had to go to Racer's Edge real quick. He was late for work.
Oh, all right.
Oh man.
Well, that was a fun topic.
Somebody said, "Have you seen the Hyundai Envision Send 4?" Yes, I love it. Jay
Yes.
hates it. Jay hates like any new retro stuff, but like I freaking love it so
I
much.
second love it as well.
It
It's
just looks
literally
like
just a Quadra
it
from
just-
2077.
Yeah, I was
It's
just gonna say it
Quadra.
just looks like the Cyberpunk 2077 car.
Yeah, I love it so much. I want one.
No, I do. I personally did not care for any of those 80s Japanese style cars.
Yeah.
So it doesn't appeal to me.
Yeah, Jay's more of a classic car thing anyway.
It
but
looks
like,
neat.
My like
No, it looks
Yeah.
neat. But to me, it's like, you know what? We're not in that era anymore. So let's move forward with the designs, not pay homage to it. I mean, that's fine. I mean, I'm not like talking crap at it or anything because for me, I just got one of those SCE conserve energy texts. But no, it's
Hold on, let me start a render on my computer real quick, just out of spite.
Broken Patriot said the new Z is sick. Sick as in barf. Yeah, it's terrible.
Sick as in.
It's gross.
Honestly, I was cool with it, but I get why they had to recycle the Z34 because they're like low on money at the time, anyways. But I was
Yeah,
expecting
isn't it still on the same platform or
Yes.
something?
you can
Oh,
basically
no.
swap the suspension parts into it, and
No.
but I mean it's
It took them 10 years. You know what? 12 years
To make new body
to make the
panels?
same car.
but we put the twin turbos in it. I was
Doesn't
honestly
matter.
expecting a little bit more. I was expecting
That's
a little
gross.
bit more.
That's gross. It's disgusting.
I have a soft spot for the Z32 era ones, like the 300ZX.
I'm still holding out for what the Nismo version will look like, at least aesthetic wise, because I do not like the front bumper at all.
It's so just.
I don't know.
yeah.
Do you think they'll even come out with an Nismo?
I'm sure, like in 5 years, when they keep holding on to the chassis. So we need to sell more. All right, Nismo version. Because now they're probably just gonna have like a tech package or something.
I'm always honestly, I'm like, how does Nissan what does Nissan sell the most of? Because I'm always just surprised that they're still around.
Ultimas,
Okay.
Maximas, bro, just go to E2C. You'll see.
Ulti-
You'll see
Ultima's all the crazy. It's all the crazy astrology girls.
the bald tires and everything, dude.
I saw this tweet that was just like, why does every Ultima driver think that it's like an F1 car? Like, dude, calm down. It's like usually some chick with like
No,
a
for me-
Dreamcatcher in her rearview mirror.
Which car?
The Ultima.
Ultima.
No, for me, it's everyone running around with a camera TRD. It's like, bro,
Oh, yeah.
it's a
Yeah.
Camry.
Yeah.
Just because they put just because they put a spoiler on it, they added 3 letters, Toyota Racing Development, and some neat wheels. You're still in a grocery getter, okay?
Confession, I did look at them when I was shopping for a car.
Nothing says try hard racer boy, and there's a different term I want to use for that. Just replace the word racer. It starts with an F, like a Camry TRD.
Fuselage boy.
Fuselage boy. Foxtrot uniform, Charlie Kilo. Oh boy.
Jeez. But okay, so we've all played Cyberpunk, right?
Yes.
No. Yes.
I beat it like twice.
I beat it twice, and then I stopped playing long before the 1.0 patch.
Yeah.
Okay, but so recently they had the 1.6 patch, and they're also announced an actual like story DLC. So how do you feel about going back to it? What, a year and a half later?
Yeah, it's like.
Wait,
has it been?
If it's not sitting in your library installed, do you think it warrants a reinstall to go play it again?
I think.
When did Cyberpunk come out? Wait, it's gonna be like the original.
1919.
1983. Cool. The original story.
No. Personally, if I finished a story of a game and they haven't come out with something like closely thereafter, and I'm not fast to beating games. You guys know this.
Yeah.
When it's off my library, it's gone.
Yeah, I was gonna say like
nothing.
You uninstall it, right, and then you're done, right?
I will rarely go back to a game, especially if I have to pay for DLC to continue playing the story.
Right.
I feel like if Project CD or CD Projekt Red really wanted me back, they'd make that story free.
Is it free or is it?
I'm not too sure.
They haven't.
Remember.
Yeah, they haven't said if it's paid or not. But yeah, it'll be interesting.
Because there's a lot of things that were cut, and then a
The
lot of
whole intro montage.
Yeah.
Basically, you were supposed to play through that, and then it just they didn't have time because publishers and stuff.
and the multiplayer.
Oh yeah, I totally forgot it was supposed to have multiplayer.
You guys forgot about that?
Yeah, it was supposed to be like.
But
GTA
we've become so groomed in so many things in life, not just games, to expect whatever's released in its mediocre state and be grateful that it exists in its mediocre state. I mean, we could thank DICE for that, because as much as DICE continues to put out garbage, there are still fanboys out there that will absolutely eat up whatever crap they're serving.
It's a fun game. Like, no, dude, you're missing it.
Like, apparently Battlefield 2042 finally has like the season pass and all that's finally out. But,
Finally?
Oh, geez.
Wow.
Well, it's like another year later.
Yeah, and then you got Halo Infinite friggin' struggling to make like split screen co-op available on consoles, and
I
it's
read
like,
I read they just canceled it.
No, and the worst part about it is that they canceled it, but people found a glitch, a way to glitch into it, and it works. Like, it works with like a few small bugs or something like that, but that makes it even more of an insult to the fans, because of the fact that it's in the game and it is possible for it to work on the consoles, except they just decided that no, you guys don't get it because we said so. It's just like, bro, what 343? What are you doing?
Yo, at least Master Chief Collection still works.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't know that. Like with Battlefield 2042, there was only like 2 people from the original Battlefield team still at DICE.
And I think recently the Mr. Battlefield, they called him on Twitter, like left DICE recently. So like officially,
That's good. I wish, as somebody that is a huge Battlefield fan back in the day, I wish they would just let it die.
Yeah.
So
like,
just let it die.
What, from like
let it
Battlefield
die,
4?
or like, because it's like stop half-heartedly trying. That's the thing,
they
right?
can't recreate that amazing era that it was, because the
Because
team
they don't
that
wanna
made
devote-
it.
yeah.
Well, the team that made it what it was is no longer there.
Yeah, they're not there anymore.
So,
And Mr. Battlefield leaving is definitely the last nail in that coffin of like the original team is no longer there. This dude was there since
Well, look,
1942.
you've even got Stone Mountain 64, who did so many Battlefield videos, playing almost purely now Call of Duty.
This is your commanding officer, that guy. Yeah, like that guy's playing Call of Duty now, guys.
But like even back when we were playing Battlefield 4, like the content was coming out 3 months at a time. It wasn't
And even the
and they
base
and they
game
laid
was
out
so fun. Like,
and they laid out an entire roadmap, and they stuck to it.
But they met the expectations that they laid out in the roadmap. They don't keep changing it every other month or something when they have the updates or whatever. But I mean, yeah, DLC, they groomed us, and now it's spreading to BMWs now with the seat warming.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Like DLC has also groomed people to just expect the fact that you can you can pay extra to get more features. And
you have to
you
pay
expect that at the dealership when you buy the car.
Yeah.
Right? Oh, okay, you want heated seats and stuff? Okay, fine, that's a feature you can buy. But now you can
Now
download
it's
it.
DLC. Yeah, like heated seats are a DLC in cars.
Subscription DLC.
This really is a car episode. Jeez, we ended up in cars in all 3 topics. But
Time to pirate that DLC.
No, it's fine. The last bit of the show is going to be all fan fueled.
This will be
fan
great.
fueled. So
Great.
But yeah, like the thing is, it's like you're gonna have people jailbreaking their cars to get heated seats.
Okay, but it could be worse than that. Again, going back to my Tesla hate. Yes, I openly hate Tesla, and I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
BMW gives you the option to subscribe to heated seats in whatever model, right? Which is so stupid. Yeah. It's so stupid. The thing you've paid for, it's in the car, but because you won't give them you have to download heated seats. So.
Is the card reader in the car already? So you just swipe your card to use it, or?
Oh my god, no! That would be if EA bought BMW. If EA bought BMW, there would literally be a card reader in the
No, here's the
Pay,
thing.
right?
Here's the thing. That means theoretically, an EV company, let's just say Tesla again, could have every Model S be a Plaid, but it's only a basic single motor. 75 kilowatt, whatever, and you actually insert your card in the card reader and pay for Plaid.
Wait,
or you can rent Plaid.
Oh my god!
7-day free trial.
I think you're actually a little closer than you think, because there have been incidences where somebody's battery went bad and then they got it replaced with a bigger battery from the Tesla thing.
And they got more power out of that, right?
No, but the car was still firmware limited to their original 65 kilowatt hour.
So
battery.
there's 20 kilowatt hours they don't have access to.
Yeah. So the battery just charges itself to 80%.
Dude, that's
and says it's 100 or whatever.
That's annoying. That's like paying for a 6S but only getting 4S power.
It wasn't the user's fault that they had to get a bigger battery because they were just out of stock or whatever, and then the option was just put this higher battery in and then firmware lock it.
Well, it's like the binning video I talked about today.
So it's not like they paid for a better battery, but the idea of the fact that this battery is literally just being wasted because it's just sitting there.
Yeah, it's like the binning
20%.
video that went live today, where they used to lock down certain cores back in the day, and you could physically go unlock them in the BIOS.
Right.
But no, so I forgot what I was going to say.
Download more battery.
No, we were talking about downloading stuff for cars, but
you download more battery. This tablet's already at 40%.
Doesn't Tesla already have subscription?
Oh, that's what I was going to say. No,
for autopilot,
full self-driving.
Yeah, autopilot.
Okay.
Full self-driving was something people had to pay for at the time they bought the car in full, but they still don't have it.
Can I just say for the record that I hate that name? I hate the fact that they
because it's not full self-driving.
Because it's not. Yeah, like even in its final form, it's not full self-driving because.
What is it? What's full level?
Level 4.
Level 3. Oh, okay.
Level 5.
A 5? I thought it was level
5
4.
is fully I can take a nap and then
Yeah,
have it
and
take
level
over.
3 is what FSD is.
Yeah, if that.
Level 1 is just you turned on cruise control and it's going to maintain that speed, but it doesn't steer, it doesn't brake, it doesn't.
It's a rent a life. At this point.
Well,
dude,
you could. I watched this thing on
States of
TV
PA?
where no, you're not, dude. That guy's right. You can rent friends. I'm not even kidding. So my wife likes watching these really weird documentary type shows randomly.
Oh, yeah.
And there was this one about
weird
people
stuff.
that would make money doing really non-traditional jobs. Like you think YouTube's non-traditional. People that would make a killing just going to people's houses and spooning with people.
Wow.
That's it. That's all they were paid to do.
I
It's
can
just
see that.
it's just lay down and spoon with someone for an hour and then get paid and leave.
It's like the hostess cafes in Japan.
Yeah.
Where it's like you
I like how Phil and I all
me
know
and Nick
that.
are the ones that know about it. Jay, of course, doesn't know.
Fill me in.
It's basically a cafe where imagine like a strip club, except instead of strippers, they're just there to talk to you and
like a
cuddle with
companion.
you and make you feel better and pretend that they're your girlfriend and stuff.
You're literally renting.
It probably costs about
I
as much
can't
as this.
imagine anything more depressing than that.
Yeah, I know, right? That's what I thought too. But
Yeah.
it's almost like.
It's a
over there,
cultural thing too, I believe.
Yeah, it's like there's just not enough time to have a real girlriend, so it's just
like you
let's
can't
just go to
just
the bar,
clock
get
in.
drunk, pretend I have one.
Brian T in chat says yes, you can rent friends. They're called escorts.
That's another thing.
I don't want. Oh, thank God I'm not renting you guys then, because I'm not going. I'm not seeing that date out through to the end.
Pretty bad escort, man. Like I got a heart problem. I don't really. I get tired really quickly.
Like the Wish.com escorts.
The Alibaba, the AliExpress of escorts.
Oh no.
They're all slightly used.
I mean, all escorts.
Slightly defective.
Well, all escorts are used.
Slightly defective.
That's their job. To be the escort, yeah, I'm saying you can't just rent a new escort.
Okay, we're gonna go ahead and move on.
Right,
Yeah, let's move on.
We are gonna move on to the FTFA, which is from the freaking audience section of our show.
Demonetized.
Where we probably already are. this is where you guys get to basically write in and give us some topics and some questions to talk about. So if you want to be a part of next week's show, then you go and write us at rtfm@JayzTwoCents.com. It's JayzTwoCents, all spelled out. Not with a 2, not with the number 2, just like my channel shows.
If you can't spell our channel, then
these are some... What I love is when someone will like come up to me in person to say hi, like they recognize me or whatever. They'll say, "Hey, Jayz." It's like,
yeah. People say that all the time. It's like, it's just because Jayz with an S was taken, guys. Ah!
How many times do you think like that guy's been like emailed and messaged?
I'm surprised you didn't.
I don't think it's active.
Did you ever message him like,
No.
"Hey, can I have your channel?"
No,
name?"
because I was like, Z's cooler, man. This is 2012. This was dubstep, okay?
This was back when you had your 350Z.
No, I had my 350Z later, man.
My favorite dubstep.
How do you think I was able to afford the 350Z? Because apparently I shelled hard enough
350Z
to afford a used $9,000 car.
See, it was originally the 350S, but then they decided Z would be cool.
It was kismet.
The superior chassis.
All right, so this question comes from Ian. It says, "Thank you very much for bringing back the RTFM show. I'm looking forward to starting my weekend with listening to the show each week. My question is as follows. You've said that the show originally went away due to not enjoying it and having to set up each week, etc., and the hit from the algorithm. You appear to have solved the former problem, but what about the latter one? Do you expect the same problems, and have you thought about how to mitigate them? Second channel, etc. How is it that the WAN show on LTT doesn't affect that we know of their channel in the same way?" You're referring to when I said opportunity cost loss, and that is the time that we're spending doing this, what are we able to not do because we're doing this? And I had to basically weigh that. We've had a lot of internal discussions about we missed the show all along.
Yeah.
We didn't want to stop the show, but we were at a weird... It was during the pandemic. It was a weird time. There was a lot of uncertainty about, what did the future look like, and we had to take the safe route and make sure that we were just funneling all of our focus into creating regular content, which was the most beneficial for our time use at that time. I don't remember ever saying that we didn't like doing it. It says due to not enjoying it. No, I don't believe
we enjoyed it.
Yeah, we never actually said that. Linus, on the other hand, he's not affected by it because he puts out such regular content every single day. See, when you only put out 3 or 4 videos a week, having a piece of content like the RTFM show, which gets probably 3%, 4% viewer rate versus like the channel subscription number, it's a bigger effect on the whole channel. It's a bigger anchor pulling it down versus Linus, who gets a million and a half views every video. So it doesn't affect him in the same way.
But
so
you also have to take into account we used a set for this.
Yes, it was.
So it ate into a production time, basically.
We also could not do this show again until this remodel was done, or at least done enough to have the set exist now.
Because this space, if you've noticed, like this
dedicated.
space never shows up in videos now.
Yeah.
Because it's the RTFM space.
Well, this set will show up in the React series again. It's the obvious place to film it.
Right. Yeah. Actually, no. You're right. You're right. That makes sense. Yeah.
But in terms of like this half of this room now does nothing but RTFM, which means we can prepare throughout the week or whatever. And then we literally sat down here, 20 minutes, 25 minutes
before?
Yeah, before the show.
Yeah.
Got everything set up. We changed the lights around a little bit, and then we were sat down and off we go.
Yeah.
And in fact, people have even commented like, "Wow, you get the show up on Spotify like real fast." Apparently, we're a lot faster than Linus getting the audio version up only. But that's because literally I'm recording it right here on my device. I don't have to rip any of it, and I don't have to like turn it into an MP3 or anything. It'll do it for me. I just send it up to Buzzsprout, who then just syndicates it everywhere it needs to go. And then as soon as it processes on those particular platforms, then you see it. So usually within an hour or two.
It's that big efficiency energy.
Yeah. But the fact is, if we needed to, like if we had to film something else tonight, we could literally put our headphones down, be done here, and be filming over there in the other set in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
We don't have to clear the
tear
set,
this down. Yeah.
change the camera, change the lens. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's just like, no, it's already set up.
This is dedicated space.
We
for
have
it.
markings on the floor for where the camera goes.
It's almost like we're professionals sometimes.
Don't raise that expectation.
Yeah.
professional,
Well,
unprofessionals.
they don't know what the behind the scenes looks like, but
They can guess. They wouldn't be wrong.
Leave that to imagination.
yeah. It's funnier when they just imagine everything's constantly exploding in the background. Because
It is.
I mean, it is. He's not.
It is. You know what I do?
you're right.
This is what happens. Things are going really swell. I'm going to go to Twitter real quick.
No. I'm gonna install an audio driver on my computer real quick.
No, things are going really well. I'm going to talk about NVIDIA for a second. That'll be an easy video.
I'm feeling pretty good. Quick, let's play Rocket League.
Oh no. Yeah, but that could go both ways. Sometimes he could just destroy me and then I rage quit. And then sometimes it's the other way around.
All right, so Tim writes in, he says, my question today, oh, and by the way, with the RTFM stuff, I was talking about this with the team. We're thinking about actually doing a dedicated voicemail line where you guys could actually leave your recorded questions. And we think it would be neat to play them instead of, I'm going to have to sift through all the
Yeah, we got to pre-filter them for sure.
Nick, it'll be your job. No, your job will be to go and just delete the ones that are spam / trolling.
We're gonna get like 50 voicemails from Mark that's just like sodded. Like it's just and then it just ends.
Trust me when I say it sounds like a terrible idea, but it could work.
Yeah, no, it'll be
Legit,
fun.
I wouldn't mind letting one of those in just so we could just.
You know what's gonna happen?
Right
They're
back.
gonna see 2 weeks of voicemails, and then it's gonna go back to email, and they're gonna be like, you know what happened, okay?
This is exactly why you guys can't have nice things.
Why don't we just stick to email? Like honestly, that sounds like the safer route.
No, I wanted to see what damage does it do for me to
You
just
get a
try
fax line going to see what people say.
a live fax line?
It just prints out like right
No,
here.
it's a
just
dot matrix printer.
Oh my god.
So it's like 15,
loudest
15 minutes
noise
for
in the
like the
universe.
cover sheet, and then you get the message.
Look, it's no damage. Look,
And Nick's sitting here like tearing the holes off the paper like super slowly one by one and everything too.
if it turns into a terrible idea, all I did was burn a Google number. It doesn't matter,
Yeah,
okay?
yeah.
all
right.
so it's gonna go beta.
It's early beta. It's alpha, okay?
RTFM fax
Early
version
access.
coming soon. Yeah.
All right, Tim says, my question today is about brand loyalty. I suffer from it badly. I basically will not buy top-tier parts that are not made by ASUS.
Hey, step one is knowing.
I used to buy EVGA gear as well, but I had 3 bad experiences in a row with them for various reasons. I would like to save money and not have to buy a Strix 3080. Most other brands have left me sour in the upper echelons as well. I'm looking for tips or input. That sounds to me like he's just kind of going on his own experience. I wouldn't necessarily call that brand loyalty because it sounds like he's tried other brands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brand loyalty, I've talked about this, is dangerous. It's very dangerous because what happens is brand loyalty, the B turns into blind loyalty. Mm-hmm. And then it gets to the point, if you find yourself defending the brand, like doing nothing but defending them
After they stab you.
and not actually like looking at it objectively and saying, okay, is this brand being a jerk or a douche to the consumer?
Right.
Then that's blind loyalty.
I mean, Tim seems like he's like
seems aware
He's
of it.
aware, yeah, exactly. So it's like, I mean, there's not really much like to say besides, I mean, look at user reviews.
The
and
Strix
just try to-
3080 is definitely one of the most expensive 3080s that existed.
Right.
But there are other brands I feel like you can get away with. But
I would have said EVGA, but he said he got burned by EVGA, and you know what I mean. Like, I don't blame him for not wanting to deal with a company that's burned him 3 times. In a
I guess
row,
it depends on when he was burned, though. Was it recently? Was it a long time ago?
Yeah,
because I
okay,
can tell you,
that's- yeah,
I
you're
can
right,
tell you,
that's the thing.
EVGA specifically, there was an era there where their motherboards were the worst motherboards on the planet.
like just super unreliable and
The
stuff.
hardware on them was good. The BIOS team and the support behind it was absolute garbage. And this was actually right around the time I started my YouTube channel. So I'm talking like 2011, 2012, right? And that was when like the Z67, I believe it was, the 3770K era, right? Ivy Bridge, not Ivy Bridge, prior to Ivy Bridge. I can't remember which bridge it was. Whatever, it doesn't matter. I remember reading reviews about the EVGA boards because I liked the way they looked. I was going to buy one, and then I was at Micro Center holding one. And on my phone, I looked at reviews, and it was just like 0.5 star.
Wow.
I was like, oh my God.
Food.
So it was one of those things that like when I ended up having a professional relationship with EVGA, I remember asking specifically the CEO and owner of the company, like, hey, so the motherboards seem like they're a lot better now. And then this is when I had EVGA boards in Skunkworks and several EVGA products like in different builds. And I went from going like they were some of the most terrible brand motherboards on the market to like, in my opinion, one of the best because they were the most like, they didn't have a bunch of fluff. They didn't have crap you didn't need. The BIOS was stripped down and very basic but easy to understand.
Yeah, just
and they
everything you did need.
They didn't have RGB, didn't have another crap. It just worked, right? And I was like, what did you do? And I remember the CEO was like, I fire everybody. I went, what? Because he's from Taiwan. He says, I fired everybody. So really, he goes, yeah, we started entirely from scratch.
Clean slate.
Clean slate. Engineers, BIOS, everybody was fired. And that's what he did what he had to do.
Yeah.
Because clearly that team wasn't getting it done. And then since then, they turned into great motherboards. I still feel like they're great motherboards. In fact, you ask anyone that has an EVGA AMD board, which was really unprecedented, No one expected there to ever be an AMD EVGA board. I put one in Kia Pia's system.
Oh yeah,
She's had nothing but great success with it. And so, yeah, I feel like it's unfortunately, it depends on when was he burned. You know,
Yeah.
I still personally would stay away from like gigabyte graphics cards. MSI cards, the Gaming X Trio and stuff, you have no problems with yours. I've had no problems with like MSI cards. My only problem with MSI is I feel like they lock down their overclocking abilities too much. The irony
you
is
get like 103% power limit, right?
Yeah.
And it's like,
and the irony is
Like, why
they
you
developed Afterburner.
Yeah.
you're right.
So
So I think for Tim's case though, like it'd have to take a really standout card, like something that appeals to him.
Well, I was
for
about
him
to
to
bring
wanna
up the
change
chat
it.
is also like, we didn't think about this, but it actually ties into some of our recent content, which is an Asus TUF 3080 would be a great solution if he wants to stay Asus, because it's like
well, the thing you have to
difference between a
remember, the thing you have to remember is technically the Strix is not an Asus product; it's an ROG product. It is a separate operating
Right.
company under the Asus umbrella.
Oh, okay.
So Asus TUF is an Asus card.
Yeah.
And ROG, it's a separate team.
Oh, okay. So RG is a separate company.
It is.
Okay.
It is technically a separate brand.
But if you
under
wanted to
Asus.
stay under that umbrella, though, you know what I mean?
Because if you were to grab any one of our Strix boxes, you wouldn't see Asus on there except for maybe fine print. It would be Republic of Gamers on everything.
Yeah, ROG.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing, though, is that like with modern graphics cards, it's like the difference between a top tier card and a bottom tier card is like what, like 5% maybe? You know what I mean? Like in performance. So it's like it doesn't really matter that much. You know what I mean? It's just the extra features. Like, do you care about RGB? Do you care about fan stop? You know, it's like, do you care about the design or whatever? Because obviously, you know, that's subjective. Like, you know, I could hate a design, but Nick could love a design, and vice versa. Blah blah blah. Like, and
We
so
do that
yeah,
like all the time.
yeah, actually, yeah.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, like I saw the Gundam piece and I was like, that's cool. Nick can have it.
Yo, this is sweet.
Yeah, like a tough 3080. There you go, Tim. Like that's an option if you want to stay within the family. If not, MSI Gaming Trio is always a really solid
And not all
option.
gigabyte cards are bad. It's just the ones that they sent us for 30 series. They're the ones that had the stupid wire. So the plug was actually an extension plug.
Oh yeah,
Remember that?
Oh yeah,
And they were breaking off. And so if it depends, like the Aorus brand is like the higher end gigabyte brand, so they have been more solid. But I've had just personal experiences with gigabyte too bad. They've been too bad for too long.
I think my only negative experience with them was the fan shroud on my 1080.
That was that flimsy one that would smash, right?
Yeah. But other like
That was the one that if you put it in the box and you pushed it down too hard, you would smush it.
yeah, it's mushed in. I'm like, but they haven't. Apart from that, I haven't had like negative.
Yeah,
like,
but that's because you have the extreme. That was a higher end card. The ones that
And
they
this
sent
goes
us were
back to something
basic.
that Jay's always said too. Is like if everyone stopped using every company that burned them, no one would use
Look
it.
at the
Yeah.
look at the discussion in chat right now.
Yeah,
Nobody
like-
can agree
like
on a
everyone's
brand.
been burned by every company in chat right now. It's just
Yeah.
different people have like had different experiences. That's the that's kind of
That's
the-
why
the
whenever
thing.
somebody sends me an email about their personal problem and wanting me to go on some crusade for them, I just delete it. It's when I see people telling me the same thing repeatedly from the same company, then we look into it. But
like my this specific part caught on
but
fire,
everyone,
and then you get
but
50
everyone
emails
that
with
has
the
a
same
problem
thing.
wants
It's
to
like,
write us about their problem, and by us I mean me, Linus, Steve, Paul, Kyle. They want to write us and have us go to bat for them, and we can't do that.
Yeah.
I mean we advocate obviously for the consumer, but we cannot personally go to bat for people.
Yeah, like somebody right here said Gigabyte always sucked, and then like 2 messages later, I've had a few Gigabyte cards, never had a problem. I'm on a 2080 Super right now. And it's like, those are both valid experiences.
Yeah.
Because somebody has, I've been burned by Gigabyte motherboards before, so I personally will never buy, or I like don't really try to buy a Gigabyte motherboard, but I'm not like gonna tell somebody else that like I'm just gonna tell them what happened to me, but I'm not gonna tell them to not buy it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the thing, is just you just like I mean, at the end of the day, they're all the same die that comes from NVIDIA. So just buy a 3080.
So Scott says the world is less secure than ever. I avoid SMS two-factor where possible, and more sites are removing the Zuck button over privacy concerns. How terrible is Gmail button for login? I'm assuming the Zuck button, he's referring to the Facebook login.
Facebook login button, yeah.
The last thing I want to do is tie logins to other logins.
Yeah, I never use the Gmail login button.
The problem is some places don't allow you to do it any other way. They don't have their own login system. You have to log in through Google or Amazon or Facebook.
Yeah, I feel
or
like
something.
Google is like my reluctantly like, okay, fine, I guess I'll do it. Just like GeForce Experience.
I actually use Google Authenticator for almost everything.
Yeah.
Because you have backup codes.
But
And
the cool thing about that though is that like that's just an industry standard authenticator app.
because I almost feel like any
use Authy.
This is probably a cynic in me, and I have no proof of this. I'm just assuming. I have no I have a personal belief that the companies that are using SMS 2FA are selling your phone numbers.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So
I believe that
it's
too.
not just a 2FA thing, but it's like you ever, okay, if you ever wanted proof that Google sells your email, start a Gmail account and never use it and go look at it a year later. How are you getting spam emails on something you've never used anywhere? It happens.
Yeah.
So like he's right. Everyone is selling your info.
Yeah, that's a good point, though. Yeah, always avoid SMS 2-factor authentication. Like, I don't even believe SMS 2FA is really 2FA because it's so easy to SIM spoof a phone.
Yeah.
And then, you know what I mean? And then get access to the 2FA stuff. It's like 2FA should be if you have
Not
to
in the new
have-
iPhone. No SIM.
Yeah, they can still spoof your eSIM. That's all
And you can't even change it.
What do you think? Well, you could, but that'd be really interesting to call and be like, yeah, no, this is really my eSIM, guys. Are you sure? It says it's registered to blah, blah, blah. But anyway, yeah, like a real two-factor authentication is if you're using an authentication app, like Jay said, Google Authenticator, Auth is another one. Usually password, like LastPass or 1Password will also have one built in. If it's the thing that generates the auth code on the app itself and then it syncs up to the server, then yes. Then that's two-factor authentication. If it's the one that sends you a text message,
That's not a real two-factor.
sus.
Because all that's saying is this person really trying to log in? That's all it says. It's not actually two-factoring anything other than that person's on the other end. But that's why I use Google Authenticator.
It's kind of funny. It's like Steam was like the first experience of 2FA that I think I remember using.
Yeah.
Like the little Steam
Yeah.
Authenticator code that they ping you with.
When he says how terrible is the Gmail button for login, I don't use Gmail for that either. Like I said, I use Google Authenticate. So that's if it's an option, but not everyone offers that.
I just feel like, it's just pick which company you want to have all your info. Google's a
If this person says he's really concerned about security, just stay off the internet. That's the only option. You know,
Go to the brick and mortar store, buy it.
Or use Proton Mail and then use that as your email login.
Proton Mail, yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like some sort of third party, like not any of the big companies that collect all your data crap. You know what I mean?
Yep. All right. This one comes from Israel. He says, longtime listener, first time caller. Do you think as a consumer community, we could have enough leverage to make our own price corrections in the market? I assume he's referring to when I talked about Jensen's sales call.
Inventory correction thingy.
Yeah, it's channel inventory correction. That's called voting with your wallet.
Yeah.
The problem is it's very
It's hard when RTX is so cool.
No, not just that. It's like
That's like a factor though,
okay,
right?
let me
Like,
use.
because the
we're
products
gonna
are
we're gonna
cool.
go back to cars. Okay.
Okay.
This really is the car show this episode.
No, the gas out. Do you remember the gas out?
Oh yeah, when everyone was saying like, "Oh, don't
Buy gas on this day.
Yeah.
It's like you're all gonna buy gas tomorrow anyway, so it doesn't
Yes.
do anything. It just shifts it a day.
It doesn't do anything.
It literally, yeah.
It doesn't do anything.
You
You're
would have
never
to just
gonna
sell
get
your car.
look,
for it to matter.
everyone buying something. Whether now remember graphics cards, CPUs, and all that for the majority of people is not a survival necessity.
Yeah, I hope not.
I mean, yeah.
if you're thinking it that way,
Okay,
then...
I mean, your computer broke. You work from home. You have to fix, repair,
okay, yeah,
replace,
okay,
right?
yeah, okay, that makes sense. Yes,
But for the most part, if you're standing on principle of saying, screw NVIDIA, we should price correct ourselves, you'd be hard pressed to get everyone to agree with you. Because here's the problem. I have absolutely no doubt people in this chat and people that watch this channel and watch any of our channels that are commenting, screw NVIDIA, screw NVIDIA, screw NVIDIA. Amongst that group, there are lots of people ready to buy an NVIDIA card as soon as 40 series launches.
yeah, if they see a 3080 for $500,
Because again,
all buying
if you die on the hill of principle, you're going to die alone. So
Yeah.
you have to choose which principles you're willing to
Unfortunately.
really, really stand for, and which ones you were like, okay, I'm reluctantly doing this.
That hill better have a nice view if you're gonna die on it.
There'll be a lot of dead bodies, just a little lower. It depends on where your principles are.
well, your hill would be ray traced of a view, but then you didn't want to buy a
No,
video.
there's a screen up there with the Windows XP desktop.
And like an AMD like R9 380X or something.
But I
You have-
also
you have
believe.
abandoned
See, here's
your
my
principle.
problem. Like if we're using NVIDIA as an example, because I believe that's what he's referring to, I have pure distaste for the leadership of that company, but I like the product.
NVIDIA?
NVIDIA, what did I say?
I don't know.
Oh yeah,
I was just
I think I said NVIDIA. Yeah. So I like what NVIDIA makes,
agree. I think that.
but I hate the company culture.
Agree.
So it's like again, if we go back to that thing of like, I'm just going to boycott, which you would have to do a boycott to try and market correct. But again, they know people are still going to buy and have to buy. So you'll never be able to necessarily vote. Remember, the price of NVIDIA graphics cards only came down because of there was so much product coming down the channels of manufacturing that overlapped the crash of cryptocurrency and all that stuff that brought the pricing down. Yeah. Otherwise, prices would still be just as high if crypto was still as hot as it was. And supply chains were still constrained. So they ordered, and then there was a delay in everything happening, and that stuff was crossing in the mail, basically. You're never going to get everyone on board with it. You're going to have plenty of people that are like, you know what, I don't care. Prices are good. I need a system. I've waited 3 years. I'm just going to do it. You know? And as much as I feel like that's a solid principle to have, I don't think you'll ever get the entire community on board enough to affect the price.
Yeah.
Which is why I fear really expensive 40 series pricing.
I feel like maybe if AMD somehow just made some insanely too good to be true, like GPU line this upcoming season of GPUs, that might be enough to tilt the scale. This season
of Game of Thrones.
Well, yeah, I mean it's GPU season, so you know what I mean. It's like this is this year's season of GPUs, but yeah, I think it's tough to do. It's tough to do that principle thing when there isn't an alternative from a different company that matches it. You know what I mean? Yeah. Although I do feel like, honestly, like if you're not into ray tracing, like the AMD cards, and that was like kind of the thing we were talking about when we were at Micro Center. We saw all the AMD cards still on the shelf, and I was like, this honestly kind of makes me sad because so many people could be gaming with these insanely quick cards, but they just don't because NVIDIA has such insane mind share. Yeah. Like everyone always just thinks NVIDIA RTX, which, you know, to their credit is extremely good marketing because like everyone wants a GeForce. They just assume GeForce equals gaming graphics card. And it's just like, dude, like honestly, like, my soul felt a little better when I had that 6900 XT in my edit rig.
You feel a little dirty now?
A little bit, yeah. I feel like I funded a spatula or two.
But I'm going to play devil's advocate here, though. I think the reason why people still hold off with AMD is a perfect example. If you were to go to... So I told you yesterday I was showing my youngest daughter, Space Engine.
Right.
And she was just like mind blown. Mm-hmm. But I noticed when I had to install it on my computer first because I didn't have it at home.
Yeah.
I noticed that the updates, one of the most recent updates in August was like big, bold, and it was like, do not install AMD optional drivers, exclamation point. And it was like, whatever reason, AMD optional drivers absolutely breaks the game, and it will not load and run.
Their optional driver is their beta that's like one step ahead of their traditional public release. Yeah.
So you still have that thought that lingers in people's minds when it comes to AMD.
It just feels like a second-rate citizen on the platform, right? Where it's just like the drivers are slightly less reliable.
I feel like it's a first-rate citizen still being judged on its 10-year-ago past.
Right.
You know?
And every little tiny mistake that they make nowadays, like, reminds people, and they're like, see, that's why. And it's like, dude, okay, it's fine. Like, they're going to fix it in a point release. But, you know, like, people still want to assume that, like, AMD's still, like, when they were in the R9, you know, or, like, the Radeon HD era and stuff.
What, like a 2-year-old crutch at this point?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's unfortunate, but that's the reality.
It's a really nuanced, weird world of tech we live in right now.
Yeah. All right, last but not least, this one comes from Bjorn. Bjorn says, Jay, for a housewarming gift, I plan on giving my friend a bottle of whiskey or bourbon.
Bjorben.
They spelled it bourbon right, don't listen to it. You have talked in the past about the one you liked, the one suggested by your brother-in-law, I think.
Brother.
Stop. Do you still think, do you still remember which one it was? Or do you maybe have other recommendations now? I don't know. It depends if the person is into bourbons. So again, like you said, whiskey, there's a lot of different kinds of whiskeys and bourbons. There's rye, there's bourbon, there's straight bourbon, there's double cask, there's so there's like a double cask. Sometimes they'll partially age it in one kind of barrel, maybe a sherry barrel or a wine barrel, and then they move to another barrel, or is it a blend? Basically, they don't want to waste any bourbons and whiskeys either, so they'll make blends where they take a lot of the remnants and put it together and make a blend. And sometimes it works, and sometimes it's
that's like a thing, though, right?
You've had a good hot dog before, right?
Yes.
That's a meat blend.
Yes.
So hey, you know what I mean? Whiskey blend's totally fine too.
My recommendation for anyone that maybe is not a bourbon connoisseur, but you kind of want to give them look, bourbons, they look nice on shelves and stuff. They go well with wood tones. And my whiskeys too. The browns. By the way, whiskey is all clear, just like any other alcohol, until it's aged in a barrel. It picks up the color from the wood. My suggestion would be, if they're not like into bourbons and stuff, maybe start with something around a 70, 80 proof, something smooth, non-rye. Rye can have an after note that's very hot, and a lot of people don't like it. It's very bitter. You go with something like, so Old Forester, like I said, this is very caramely, like you were saying. It hits you hard up front, very smoky right up front. It's very smoky. And that's the thing, there's a lot of bourbons that are hot. They're smoky. They actually smell, you can smell the coal and the filtering and all that. This one hits pretty hard up front with the smoky flavor, but it sort of, the note really turns caramely, buttery, very smooth within about 3 to 5 seconds afterward. What? Yeah, that's what I told them. I said, I took the sip and they were like, what? And I was like, oh. The drink just goes, ugh. It's okay.
It's like those.
Are you okay there, bud?
What's that? Like the little candies that are like sweet and sour.
Oh, the Warheads.
Yeah, Sour Patch Kids.
Oh,
Yeah,
Sour
like
Patch
those
Kids.
commercials. How
Yeah,
they
first they're
crash
mean.
your car, but then they like give you a gift or whatever.
Yes,
after.
yeah, it's kind of like that. Woodford Reserve is a one I really like. It's not overly expensive. Elijah Craig is very, very smooth and also not that expensive.
Yeah, it's amazing. I love it.
Elijah Craig mixes really well with like old fashions. So I can't wait to make an old fashioned with this though, because that's going to be really good. Yeah, I would just stay away from ryes. I would stay away from maybe double casks. I would stay away from straight Tennessee whiskeys. A lot of those are going to be hot. But again, it's like, I don't know, maybe I don't smoke cigars, but people who smoke cigars could talk all day long about cigars. And if you're not a connoisseur, you're not going to know.
Yeah.
But I promise I'm not a bourbon alcoholic. I swear.
Mondays and Wednesdays at what time?
Shut
7 p.m.
For 20 minutes at a time.
That's it. My Monday stream, I'm just going to bring my recliner into my office and I'm just going to drink for 3 hours.
You got to get an Eames chair like that guy's setup that he sent in. Remember?
Oh, the Harman Kardon.
Like,
None of the Harman Kardon. The stereo chair.
Yeah, that Eames chair with like the smoking jacket and everything.
Yes.
It's like a $2,000.
I have those leather chairs in storage that look like the Matrix chairs.
Ooh, that's sick.
You think that's whiskey you're drinking? All right. Well, that's pretty much it for today's show, guys. Thanks for hanging out with us. Saw a lot of people saying, RTFM's back. When did that happen? We made a video about it. We did a whole other stream. We've tweeted about it. Where have you been?
We built a studio about it.
Yeah. Guys.
Tell me you don't watch the channel without telling me you don't watch the channel. Nick was actually part of the topic that we were talking about inadvertently while he was at the wedding while we were at the wedding about it.
Look, we even got a sign and stuff, so we're all official.
Yeah, it's real.
It's real.
Yeah, it's live. You know how many people asked, is this live?
Actually, yeah, it's like, no, it's not. It's not live right now. I'm not reading your chat messages right now, guys.
Anyway, it'll be up on Spotify and all your favorite syndicated streaming sites when it comes to audio and stuff. So we will see you guys next week. Thanks for hanging out.
Bye.
Peace.